Welcome to Wild Her Wisdom, the podcast where sassy meets savvy. Join Shelley and Amy as they dive into the heart of womanhood, blending inspiration, laughter, and authentic conversations. In each episode, they celebrate the wild and wise woman in you, exploring everything from personal growth and self-care to career and relationships. So whether you're looking for a spark of joy, a dose of empowerment, or a good laugh, you're in the right place. Let's get started on today's journey into Wild Her Wisdom.
All right, listeners, we have got a treat for you today. We have with us Beverly Wilkes. We call her Bev. You can call her Bev too, because she's so great. And she is the founder and brain power behind Bacon and Heels. You're going to learn all about it. Bacon and Heels is a personal finance blog that is 100% dedicated to helping women learn more about money and helping them make smart money decisions by sharing interactive tools and interesting articles to help them save, invest, and earn more money. Bev, thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me. I am super jazzed to be here.
We are jazzed that you're here. Amy and I talk about women in finance, like when we have lunches and we hang out together. Yep. And when we decided to do this podcast, it's like, that's something that we have to talk about. We need to empower women around money.
Mm-hmm. Right on.
Yeah. So
100%.
we love that you're here. So I want to start out with, of course, we're super thrilled to have you here, but I want you to share the story behind your blog's name.
It's so awesome. It's so awesome.
I'm so glad you like it.
I love it.
I started thinking about blogging or having a conversation with women. It's been a few years, and I'm like, the name's going to be catchy and fun. So Bacon, because we bring home the bacon, and I love bacon. And Heels, because regardless if you wear a kitten heel, a stiletto heel, any type of heel, it's for women. So looking good, getting money, eating the bacon, having a good time.
I will confess. So when Amy came on before you, she's like, it took me a minute to understand. She's like, was I having a blonde moment? I go, no, it also took me a minute to understand. And my hair, while it may be gray under all of this dye, it is not blonde. So it's so catchy, but it makes you think. So we absolutely love the blog name.
Love it.
I'm glad.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's awesome.
The bacon took a second though. I threw myself under the bus, and then Shelley just graciously was like, I'm going to throw myself under there too, because I had a minute as well. So I'm like, okay, I feel better. But once you get it, and you don't forget it. So it's amazing.
Exactly.
Yes. So we've seen it, and it's fantastic. Can you tell us maybe a moment or event that sparked your desire to start the Bacon and Heels blog?
Sure. I was very fortunate to grow up in a household where we spoke about money at the dining room table.
Oh, that's so unusual.
It is. And for me, it was normal at that time. Mm-hmm. So we would have a conversation during dinner, and we always had the radio on to AM radio. My mom and dad loved AM radio. They still do. They still enjoy it. And at 6:00 was the Money Minute. And my dad would be like, shh, I need you to zip it for a second. I want to hear what's going on. And then we would talk about it. Years passed. And then we're all working. We graduated university. We're having a good time. And friends started coming to ask me about, well, what should I invest in? Where should I put some money? How do I save for retirement? How do I save for a down payment? And then it just started happening where I was like, oh, you could do this, or you could do this, or you could buy this type of a tool. You could buy this type of a vehicle. You could do these types of things with your money to make it more meaningful for you. And then I just started hearing friends having conversations at lunches. And then it just kind of boiled over to this conversation that I'm having with women literally around the world about them making money, investing their money, ditching their debt, and saving for a rainy day.
Oh, so needed. So needed. I'm glad that you took the initiative to start sharing the information that you were just casually sharing with others in a more public platform. Because we just can't have enough of it, in my opinion.
Exactly. And it's really a great way for me to give back to the community. And I feel really connected. Like I met a gal a couple of weeks ago from Australia. So I have a new friend down there, chatting with her about money. And even though things are different, like 401ks in the US or RSPs in Canada, there are different things down there. The fundamentals are the same. How we save, how we invest, how we plan for a later date, how do we get out of debt, are always the same.
Awesome.
I know I have a saying, and I need to learn to evolve it. But I say, like, a man is not a plan, ladies.
Yeah.
we need to be able to. So it's like a partner's not a plan. Like, we need to be able to be in a space where we can care for ourselves,
I agree.
and be able to do the things that we want to do. While having a partnership is great, and two incomes are sexy. Being
It
able to
is.
stand on your own 2 feet is also super sexy.
Amen to
I
that.
completely agree. And even if you are together, I still want every woman to have her own bank account.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right?
Yep.
Super important.
So you often discuss in your blog women and their relationship with money. What do you think is the most common misconception about women and financial independence?
I think it stems from when we were younger. This wasn't my experience, it's experience of friends. And what I've learned is a lot of my friends were not taught that in school or at home. I think it's sometimes said that women talk about money is gauche. It's not very nice. Men should be doing that. I think that traditional thought about a woman's place is now fading out more with different generations. But in my Gen X, time, people, especially my girlfriends, were saying, "Well, I'm going to meet a great guy, our partner, and he or she is going to be able to help me." And then that didn't work out that way. And they were kind of like, oops, well, I have all this debt. What am I going to do? How am I going to manage all this debt? No one's coming to save you, to your point. So I think the relationship with money is, they know we need it. They work hard for it, but it falls through the fingers. It falls through the cracks. And we need to be able to put a bigger tin basket to capture that money and not let it slip through the cracks. So I think we were not taught in school. Many of us were not fortunate enough to have it taught in the home. It kind of just translates. If you don't learn it, you're just going to keep on doing what you saw mom and dad doing. And that translates into adults that are having a hard time in saving, investing, and managing their money.
Absolutely. And I know you're from Canada. I'm from the United States. And so I don't propose to understand the Canadian laws or the roots in the banking system. But in my lifetime, women were not allowed to have bank accounts on their own. In my, in our lifetimes in the United States, women could not have a bank account. Women could not sign for loans on their own. And, I may seem old to my teenage kids, but I'm not that old.
Yeah.
My parents explained that as well. If your husband was in Vancouver and you're in Ontario, and which is right across the country, and you were sick and you needed to go to the hospital, or you were having the baby early, he had to sign for you. But I'm like, they didn't have fax machines. How did you get in touch with them? It was absolutely bonkers. I am very pleased to see that we have progressed. I think we are getting better with money, but I still know that women are not being paid as much as men. That is still, it's getting better.
It is getting better.
But we do not have parity yet. And that's one thing. Two, sometimes women are out of the workforce to have a child or take care of an elderly parent, because women are still looked at as the caregivers. So that's another opportunity when we're not in the market. But data is showing that when we are in the market and we are investing or managing our money, we're pretty darn good at it. So we just need to have that extra, how do I call it, like fever, like passion for it, to be able to say, I got this, I can do this. I'm just going to find the tools to help me get there.
And I think that on bacon and heels.
Exactly.
Yeah, on bacon and heels. So how, you're kind of leading into what I wanted to talk about next, but how important do you think it is for financial literacy is in empowering women ultimately?
100. It's everything. It's a life skill. Learning how to drive, riding a bicycle, table manners. All these things are life skills that we need to have, and managing your money is essential. It allows you to leave any situation that no longer serves you. You don't like a job because your boss is being bad with you. You have money in the bank, you could leave. A friend of mine just a few weeks ago said to me, she hates her job. She knew she couldn't leave. She had to go in every day and take what he was serving up to her, even though she knew it was bad, because she didn't have an emergency fund to say, you know something, peace out, I'm okay. That's not good.
Yeah.
You're in a situation with a partner that you want to get out of, that you can't get out because you can't afford your own apartment. That's not good either. Even little things like you went out with a bunch of friends for dinner and you're in somebody's car so that they drove and you can't get home because you don't have enough money to pay for the Uber. It doesn't need to be these big things. It could be small little things as well. So being able to, I'm not saying you need to be a bazillionaire. I'm just saying you need to be able to manage the money that you have, understand money, how it works, making sure that the money that you are getting, you're spending it wisely, you're putting money away for you, you're investing for your future, your children's future, and you're taking care of the bills that you have. It's so important that we have a plan when it comes to money. It's great when it comes in, right? Let's say today's payday, you got $1,000. You're like, woo, let's go shopping. Meanwhile, you already have like 3 pairs of jeans in your closet with a price tag on it. Do you need that pair of jeans?
Exactly.
So it's having these bigger conversations, I think, are really important for people.
So you alluded a little bit to in the beginning, like you started the conversation within your family early, but can you share maybe some other steps that you've taken to improve your own financial literacy?
I literally read everything about, well, everything, not everything the pilot, but a lot about investing. In Canada, we have something called an RSP, a registered savings plan. And in the US, it's a 401k. And I really figured out, okay, how am I going to be able to maximize that every year on my salary? And then I started really looking at all the offers people were doing at work. Oh, work gives me 2%. If I put 2%, they put 2%. That's free money. I'm going to take that. Okay, what else can I do? Speaking with a lot of my girlfriends and my male friends. My male friends are the guys who are saying, I've invested in these stocks. I'm putting down 20% on a house. That was Roger. Put 20% down on his house. He saved up for years to be able to pay for that. I was like, where'd you get this money? Oh, I had a second job. Doing what? How many hours? So I think it's about asking questions. To your friends and family. If you see somebody doing something that you think, well, that's interesting, ask them. Ask them, would you be open to sharing how did you ask for a raise? How did you start investing? How did you pay for that car? How did you pay for that house? Ask questions. You'll be amazed to learn from your peers. And then, of course, the internet is the great equalizer. It really allows people to get information. Obviously, not everybody who says they're an influencer are an influencer. Take the information, learn from the information that's there. Go to your bank. I'm not a financial planner. I'm a financial coach. So go to your bank. Ask them the question. It costs you nothing, just a little bit of time. So go and find out what you can do, what they're offering, and start having these bigger conversations.
I love that you're just curious and ask questions.
Sometimes it's just having the confidence to be able to ask the questions.
Exactly.
Or to use the resources that are there, right? Like you said, like banks, credit unions, financial institutions, oftentimes have free financial literacy, but people may feel like, oh, should I go? It's there because they want to help you.
Exactly. And of course, some of them are going to want to sell you their product. Yes, of course. But you're now going in at an advantage because now you've learned what's going on. You understand your own money. Now you're going in as your own advocate. Now you can say, hello, Madame Banker, Mr. Banker, I want money for X. What's your interest rate? Oh, really? Down the street, they told me 1%. Here it's 2%. Oh, let's go down there. And I think that leads to the next point is when you meet somebody at a bank or a financial institution, just because that's the person that was given to you doesn't mean you have to marry them. Right? You're dating. You're going out there. You're going to meet a couple of different bankers. You're going to chat them up. You need to have a relationship with them so that you feel comfortable to call and say, hey, we should have a monthly conversation. Hey, the markets are going down. I'm watching the news. I don't know what's happening, but it's not looking good or it's looking great. How am I doing? you should be able to have this type of a conversation where you feel confident enough to talk to them. And the one I have one, it's wonderful. We don't just call each other on Christmas morning. Like, we talk every month. He sends me interesting things. Hey, I was here and I saw this article. I thought I would share. So it's a great relationship. I told him he can never leave me.
I think one thing that you were talking about earlier, when you talked about, like, I get paid and I go out and do these things, like I'm getting jeans and I have 2 pairs with the tags on. I think that's the downside of the instant gratification, social media, comparison culture we live in right now, because you can have 100 things in your closet or 100 gadgets or whatever, but somebody has one you don't have. And then it's like, oh, I need to go out and do that. Like, there's so much comparison that really is draining money out of our pocketbooks on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
I see it. I have a very good friend of mine who called me to her house to help her, and she literally gave me, so think of like long winter boots. You have the box that goes with the long boots. So it's a long skinny box. She had one for 2020, 21, 22, 23. That's where she kept her filing. I'm like, okay, at least it's organized by year. We went through each of them. She found checks in there, government checks that she doesn't know if she even cashed.
Oh my God.
I went through every single box in detail and showed her where her money was going. And at the end of it, she still said to me, well, our Christmas party's coming up. I need a red dress. And we proceeded to walk to her closet. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, you have 3 in here. Nobody knows that you wore that dress 5 years ago at this Christmas party. You can wear that again. It's okay. Nobody cares. So she's really trying to figure out why she's spending this money. And I really believe it's that it's there, it's hot. But as soon as I put her on a budget, she doesn't love me very much at the moment, but she's on a budget where her mortgage is paid, all her bills are paid, she gets paid, and she's paying down her credit card debt. And she has money in her pocketbook, but there's no money to go to like fancy stores and buy fancy shoes and jeans. Sorry.
Right. Yeah.
So I have her credit card.
Oh,
wow.
Wow.
All right. There you go. Getting tough. That's getting tough.
Just for a month. It was for 1 month. 1 month. She's nearly done. She's done on the 15th of April. 1 month. Okay. And then I'll give it back to her. Hopefully by that time she'll feel a little bit different about it. I didn't need it because I had the cash in my wallet.
Yeah.
She had her bank card in case there was an emergency, obviously. But like, and we live like 20 minutes from each other. She can always come over. But I still feel, though, that she still wants to shop. So we'll see when I see her in a couple of weeks how she feels. But we need to get her debt down.
Yeah.
And that's the major issue.
I love the accountability.
Little credit card detox for you.
Yes.
So Bev, you and I had a conversation recently, and I'm really impressed by the way that you are out there getting some traction for Bacon and Heels, and you're doing it on your own, which is fantastic. And I know how tough it is to get visibility. I mean, everything is so crowded today. Everyone has a platform, everyone's talking, everyone's doing things. So what strategies have you found most effective in raising awareness and getting some coverage about Bacon and Heels?
So my day job is I'm in marketing, which makes me a little bit, not an edge, but like I'm not shy to talk to people. So really being able to have a conversation with a friend of mine and say, hey, I'm looking to get on TV, or I'm looking to talk to some more people.
The super cash. I'm looking to get on TV, super cash.
Who do you know? Hook me up with somebody. And a friend of mine got me on local news station one evening. And then a couple of days later, they called back and said, do you want to come back? And then another friend of mine, I looked up online and sent a pitch in, and they called, and it just started. It's not crazy, but I've done a few things, and it's really nice to be able to feel like I'm actually reaching people. I'm not getting any money for this. This is for fun. I'm getting exposure. And the amount of people that have emailed, texted me, followed on Instagram has been phenomenal to say, I need help. Could you help me? I use one of your tools. Could you help me? That for me is step one. If long as you ask that question and be curious and say, okay, I need a little bit of help, I think we're on the right path. The more women that could do that, the better we are going to be as a society.
And your intent is in the right place. I think that's what it is. You're just really, when you are going in with a servant's heart,
Yeah.
it comes through authentically, and people are, and it's going to be good for you in the long run. But people trust you and believe you. And so that's so wonderful.
Yeah, it
Thank
is.
you.
And authenticity is one of the things that is like a core value, I guess, if you want to say, to us for as part of this podcast, Wild Her Wisdom, that authenticity is a huge piece for us. So we talked a little about, you mentioned Instagram a little bit, and you're starting to create that distinctive voice for yourself in that online space. So how do you stay authentic while appealing to that broader audience? What are some of the things that you do, or the
I
mindset that
think,
you have?
yeah, I think it's just about how can I put myself in the shoes of the audience, right? So if like a good friend of mine called and said, the gal I just mentioned, who said, look, I have all these boot boxes full of old bills and papers. I need help in organizing. I'm helping her in her drowning of that, drowning in paperwork, drowning in I don't know what to do. So that's been a great way to say, I don't have all the answers. If I don't have the answer, I'll figure it out. We can do it together. So you're not alone. I think that's really important. And then my goal is a social goal is the more women that understand money, have control on their money, the better they are going to be, which means they're going to teach their kids what they did not learn when they were younger. They're going to grow up being better with money. And then it just kind of compounds every year. And it doesn't need to be somebody who's only 20. I met a lady who's 56 who emailed me and said, I need help in organizing a budget. She's like, and she wrote, I'm embarrassed to say this. There's no reason to be embarrassed. It's okay to say that you don't know. The major thing is you put your hand up and said, I need some help here. I think that's the sign of a strength in somebody to say, I don't know what's happening. I need some help. So if we could get more people doing that, that allows me to see them, to help them. And then once they get it, that's a high for me. I'm like, holy smokes. You know, one girl texts me, I saved $5,000. I can't believe I did it. The most money I had in my life. I'm super jazzed. I'm going for 10. That for me is so exhilarating because it's a small little mindset change. You didn't buy those red pants. You didn't go to that restaurant. You just said, I'm going to take care of my money this month. And that's joyous for me.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That is so wonderful to hear. I love the way that you're helping people.
Yes.
So a lot of people dream about, balancing a corporate job and their passion. And Amy and I know firsthand it's not always easy, but gosh, is it worth it?
Yep.
But what does a typical day look like for you, Beth?
It's hard. I'm not part of this 4 a.m. club, people getting up at 4 a.m. I'm not doing that. Like, I'm like, listen,
I love it.
I know you do. I tried a little bit over the summer, like running and stuff in the morning. Yeah, it's pretty, but I'm like, listen, my bed is calling me. I need to lie down. I'm really good at planning on the weekend. So Sundays or Saturdays, spending a couple of hours getting like Instagram posts ready for the week. So that's done. Writing pieces. I try to do 1 or 2 blog posts a month. So I get that organized on the weekends as well. And then I really dedicate myself to my full-time job, which is what I really enjoy too, all day. And then of course there's family, there's, friends, there's all those activities. I'm just really trying to maximize time, especially on the weekends. So there's no sleeping in till 1 o'clock. We're up at regular people, 8:39, not like you 4 a.m., like regular people. We're up, and then I try to be good at my time.
I heard normal folks, Amy. That's what
I don't know. I don't understand. It does not compute. 4 a.m. is normal right now.
It's dark outside at 4. It's dark. It's sleep time.
I go to bed when it's light out, though. So you have to understand. I go to bed at 7:30 to 8:30 p.m.
And you're like sleeping at that time, or you're like resting?
I am definitely asleep by 9. Some days I'm asleep by 7:30, but I I don't wake up at 4. I wake up at like 4:30, 4:45. So
Good for you. And you look great. It's
Oh.
fabulous.
You look great. We all look
You
great.
look
As a
We
great.
all
matter
look
of
great.
fact.
Nobody can see
All of
us, but we can see each other.
Exactly.
Trust me, we all look
We all
phenomenal,
look
listeners.
fabulous. Fabulous, fabulous. So it sounds like you've got a routine, but there's gotta have been some times where you felt kind of overwhelmed by
Absolutely.
managing the job, having the blog, and then you reference family and friends and trying to fit it all in. So how do you handle some of those challenges?
It's hard saying no to some activities with friends and family. So sometimes I have to say no. More friends, family, I always make an exception. And then there's a lot of late nights. There's late, so I'm going to bed at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, and getting up at 8 o'clock to get to work. So
I audibly gasp. Amy and I are almost awake at that time.
We are.
yeah, exactly. You
After
should call
sleeping.
me. We'll chat. Your way in.
Okay.
I think, and then it's really making choices. And I can't do this. I will do this. Or if I'll be late on something, I'm not for work for this, I will push that out a little bit. But my number one is work and my family. That's number one. And then I have to just make choices on other items. So again, on the weekends, we really try to pack it in. Now that summer's here, well, summer, we still have some snow up here, but now that it's getting better, now we're getting to be able to go outside more. Just having the light in the evening really gives me a boost as well. When it's dark at 6 a.m. and dark at like 7 p.m., it's horrible. But now that it gets lighter, I find it boosts me up. And then I don't feel bad sitting outside until 9:30 doing something. It just kind of extends our social life in the summertime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Prioritizing and putting in some time on the weekends to schedule for your week.
Yep. And sometimes things don't work out as it does in my
definitely
head. My head is like, I can do it. And then you're like, no. So those 2 a.m., 3 a.m. items, I try to keep that very rare, but there are times where there's not enough time in the day. You just get a nice pot of coffee going and bang it out. See what happens.
Yeah.
Well, and I really want to raise up what you said about saying no, because boundaries are something that Amy and I talk about all the time, because as women, particularly, it is easy to yes, and prioritize everything over yourself. And if you're not taking time to prioritize yourself, if you're not taking time to care for yourself, you really can't show up well for other people.
I agree.
So I love that you mentioned boundaries. We often say on here on Wild Her Wisdom that your priorities are reflected in your calendar and in your checkbook.
Oh,
and
very nice.
You can see, if you're not sure where your priorities are, look at your calendar and look at your checkbook. Those are the priorities that you're playing out every day, whether or not you think those are priorities in your head.
I love it.
Your priorities.
I love it. But saying no is hard.
It
And
is.
I have a hard time doing that. So I ask a lot more questions. What is there a deadline? What is the impact? If it's more of a social thing, like, okay, how long do I need to be there? Like, we went to a baby shower a couple of weekends ago. I popped in and out. I popped in, kissed the mother, gave her the gift, did 1 or 2 games, and hightailed it out. So I was there. I took a few pictures. We loved it. And then I'm like, love you, but I need to
go.
Something else. And I think at the end of the day, she appreciated that I at least came.
At least provided some time.
Exactly. And then
prioritized.
Exactly. And I think the circle of friends and family that we have is wonderful. They understand, they're supportive of where we're all going, right? Not only me, all the friends have their own journeys, and we're really trying to be supportive of each other. And that really gives a boost as well. Because I throw things to them. Hey, what'd you do for that? How do you handle that situation at work? How did you do that? I'm still curious and asking questions. So I think it's important to do that as well.
Yeah.
So we've talked about, we know that you're in marketing in your full-time job, and we know that you're empowering women through Bacon and Heels and your blog. What are some of your hobbies outside of, what do you do in the other parts of your life, Bev?
Oh my gosh. So I love very much playing tennis and golfing. So that for me is like, golf season is here. They should be the tennis courts. We saw the nets up last night. So that was nice. I'm super jazzed, ready for that. And then I love doing house projects. So I'm not shy. I have all the tools, but I have a lot of tools. And my dad also also taught me how to, use a miter saw, use
Nice.
drills, and how to use a quick square. So I do things a lot at home. And when I talk about doing things, I don't mean like, filling a hole. Like if we're going to take a wall, put up a wall, install some, board and batten, like we do stuff, which is a lot of fun. Yes. So
A creative outlet.
Yes.
So you've got a physical outlet, you've got the creative outlet, all of that kind of just to be able to release some of your energy.
Yeah, exactly. And my husband, God love him, he's like, Saturday morning, how do you have these ideas and energy at like 7 o'clock? I think we should go to Home Depot. And he's like, oh, please.
Home Depot knows it's going to be a busy weekend.
Exactly.
Home Depot has mentioned it's going to be a busy weekend. What should we do if Home Depot comes up? Oh boy, right?
Exactly. He's like, my weekend's done.
Right. What are we doing? What are we doing? All right. Well, if you could give yourself, your younger self, one piece of advice, especially regarding career and personal passions. So kind of shifting a little bit. So one piece of advice you could give your younger self, what would it be?
For career and personal passion, that it doesn't all need to happen now. Like take the time to do a lot of the other things that you want to do, like travel. I did travel a lot with work. After university, I wanted to take a year off. My dad was like, absolutely not. You're going to get a job. I don't regret it at all, but I think it's okay that I didn't do that. You don't have to freak out about that. You will do the traveling along the way. Make sure you make time for that. And the passion when it comes to work, it's just really getting back to the root of why you're doing what you're doing. I think I was nervous in the beginning. Am I doing the right thing? Oh my gosh, am I making a mistake? And I just needed to immerse myself in what I was doing. That would have saved me a lot of gray hairs about, am I doing the right thing? If it's not the right thing, you will pivot and it's okay. And that I learned later in life.
Yeah.
So it's okay to make a mistake. It's okay not to have the right answer. It's okay at, 22, 23, 24 to figure it out along the way. And everybody's in the same boat.
I think, a lot of us learn later in life to give ourselves grace. And the hindsight is 2020. Wish we would have given ourselves grace a little bit earlier, but it is something that we learn a little bit later in life to just give ourselves some grace. Because we do thrive, we push, we strive, what's the shiny object? What can I do here? I mean,
yes.
But learning to give ourselves some grace, it's just like saying no. We need to hear that advice over and over and over and over.
Exactly.
I mean, I won't speak for all of the women in the world, but I've never personally met a woman whose career journey was a straight path.
I agree.
And you learn so much on the twists and turns and along the way. And when you look back, that's where the growth happens.
I agree.
So, that's something I can say in my 50s now that I didn't understand in my 20s and 30s for sure.
Right.
So, Bev, what's next for Bacon and Heels? What's next? Any big things?
Well, yes. Well, I'm planning right now. It's April. So in the month of April, it's Financial Literacy Month in the US. It's Financial Literacy Month in November in Canada. So big things coming up are I wrote an ebook that I'm going to be putting out this month. So that's coming out shortly. We are posting a lot of information about spring cleaning, spring clean your finances. So that's coming out next week. So chatting about that. I'm also doing a few more of these group seminars with women in different communities talking about money. So we did one a couple of weeks ago for my alma mater. I'm doing one in a few weeks from now with another good friend of mine who's American. She has a huge following and they all started talking about money for this month. So we're going to chat about that. I'm just really make sure that I'm continuing to touch people in the right way, touch them about their money, have these conversations. Let's just move this forward.
I love it. And making it a topic that we can talk about.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes, it's not bad to talk about money.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
okay to have this conversation. And it's okay to be vulnerable. Open that kimono, especially with your friends, and say, I need help. What
Yeah.
are you doing? Ask the right questions. Staying curious is really important.
Mhm.
100%.
Well, one final question for you, for those that are inspired by your journey,
Which is everyone. It's everyone.
which is everyone. And coming back to maybe one piece of advice, which you again sort of alluded to a little bit here and there, but one piece of advice you'd give to someone who's looking to follow in your footsteps, balancing that corporate career and your passion project. What kind of advice could you give to someone who wants to follow in your footsteps?
I think we always tell ourselves, I'll do it later. I want you to do it now. I want you just to start. It doesn't need to be perfect. You don't need to have all the, T's and I's and everything done. Just start. You will be amazed once you open that window and you start doing something, things start happening. It's like when you're looking to buy a house, right? Did you notice? Oh, I think I'm going to start looking. Then all of a sudden, you start seeing all these, for sale signs.
Yep.
It's let the universe help you get to where you want to be. If you could do it and you have a passion and you think you're good at it, I want you to start today.
That's it. Mic drop right there.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's it.
Do it now. There's
We have
no
nothing
time
else we
like
need to
the
say.
present.
Yeah. And if it works, it works. It doesn't work, it's okay. You'll learn
Pivot.
something. You're going to do it again. You're
Mhm.
starting from a different perspective. 100%.
Love it.
Marvelous. Bev,
Love it,
thank
love
you
it.
so much for being with us today.
Thank you.
Well, you stunning souls. Unfortunately, we reached the end of another journey together here on Wild Her Wisdom podcast. But don't let the conversation stop here. Keep the inspiration flowing by connecting with us on social media, like our Facebook page, and follow us on Instagram for a dose of empowerment and updates. And for those who just can't get enough, head on over to wildherwisdom.com. There you can connect with us, stay up to date on all our latest adventures, and catch up on episodes you may have missed.
So until next time, keep embracing your wild and exploring your wisdom. Remember, you are capable, you are resilient, and you are amazing. Keep shining.